Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about Bonebreaker Wave Maggot. Yes, finally. I got a figure that I can gush over. It's been a real mixed bag lately, going through the controller wave and the Bonebreaker wave, mixing things up. We've had some terrifying highs, some dizzying lows, and some creamy middles. And this guy, he's a dizzying high. Yeah, I got the dizzying and the terrifying the wrong way around, but you know what I meant. First of all, just looking at him in the box. Beautiful, great artwork. I like the bespoke artwork they did. Very bright, colorful, cartoony, very 90s, and that's where this guy comes from. He's so 90s. He's not like tubular, radical, like early to mid 90s. No, he's more just moving into the Attitude Era type 90s. And this is just a great recreation of the Joe Madureira type design. I don't know if Joe Madureira designed him, but he was the first artist to draw him. So I'm guessing he did. And it's got some of the classic tropes, the huge big shoulder pads, the long trench coat, the sunglasses. Oh, no, wait. Doesn't have sunglasses. We'll get back to that. We'll circle back around. First of all, I'm going to talk about what he does have. What he does have is a big, hefty, heavy buck. That's what we like to see, because Maggot needed this. Alright, it's a funny one. This character is drawn so differently in different ways, and I think a lot of that does depend on his powers. What powers, you ask? Well, he's got these two maggots that make up his digestive system. It's a weird one. This was X-Men post-Onslaught, and I feel that post-Onslaught, like Onslaught was the big culmination of the X-Men's domination of the 90s. You had Jim Lee X-Men #1. That really kicked things off. Then, we had great storylines like Executioner's Song and Fatal Attractions, going on into the Age of Apocalypse, and then finally Onslaught was the big culmination. And after that, it kind of, the bloom was off the rose, but it was still good, but it wasn't what it used to be. And unfortunately for me, Maggot kind of marked that sort of turning point where I was like, okay, I'm not as invested in this as I used to be. When Maggot, Cecilia Rees, and Marrow turned up, I was like, okay, I'm still reading, but it's not what it once was. But I don't want to hold that against Maggot, because he was a fun character. So when he first shows up, he is big and hulking, like this figure suggests. And then you realize that apparently, I think, like, when his maggots eat matter and they go into him, that sort of hulks him up. And then he gets all kind of skinny and emaciated, and they have to go out and, like, eat stuff again. That's my Cliff's Notes on Maggot. But this, wonderfully done. So yeah, big hulking version of Maggot that we want, with the blue skin and his facial features. Let's just take a little look at the facial features. These are great. It's a kind of it's a little bit scary. It's a bit of a maniacal looking face with his kind of look, but he is friendly, I promise. So he's got the strong guy style, little tuft of white hair at the front there. And again, Hasbro, the dot work on the eyes. You're really good with this. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. When you do the faces well, you do them really well, and you've done this one really well with the darker blue around the lips as well, giving more distinction and style to what's going on here. Excellent stuff, guys. I'm just taking it all in now. I really, really like it. It's a very sort of human proportioned head. It's not comic booky or cartoony as such. This is, sort of normal kind of features, but then just bright blue with crazy eyes. I dig it. I really dig it. And then just going down to the coat itself, this is nice. First of all, the rubber, plastic, whatever it's made of, is very soft. So you can really move this around, bend it. It's very pliable. That's great to see. Although, of course, it's not like it'll hold its position or anything. You can't have it billowing in the wind. But the good thing is that it doesn't really limit articulation at all. And that's what I appreciate. So you can have him looking quite dynamic and sort of, firing his maggots off towards things so they can go and devour them or whatever. That looks really, really awesome. I love a good dynamic pose with a trench coat. Who doesn't? It just looks badass. Now then, of course, The shoulder pads are separate pieces too. So you can actually lift his arms up quite a bit and get some nice range of motion there without too much constriction. That's really great. And also the actual texture on the jacket. Very, very pretty. Very, very satisfying. Bit of sense going on here. You're like, yes, I appreciate this. And then also going down the figure, they don't stop there. They put effort in, and I really appreciate that, because there's a few figures where you're like, man, you really just didn't need to do much with this, and you didn't. Whereas with Maggot, they really did. So the shirt is just painted on. That's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that. That's okay. But then you got the separate belt piece. That's always great to see. And the legs, I think this is new. I'm sure that these legs aren't pilfered from anywhere else. But the big chunky knee pads, those are great with little bobbles on there. It's nice because it's practical. Because if you are in any kind of profession or sport or anything where you do like get knocked down and land on your knees and stuff on a hard surface, yeah, you want knee pads. Trust me. If I was an X-Man, the first thing I'd be like, okay, costume, knee and elbow pads, please, and thank you. So that makes sense. And then of course just the big chunky boots with the straps on there as well. It's great. It's characterful. They really decided, you know what? Let's go a little crazy with Maggot. Let's actually invest a good amount of budget in here. And they did, and it pays off. The purple color is really bright and it pops, and it needs to, because we've had some worries recently with just the coloring of so many Marvel Legends lately. I still don't know if there's something wrong at like the factory or design level. Just colors are looking weird. Wolverine is such a shame because I love that Wolverine, but the yellow is just, it's gross. It's a weird, luminous, greeny yellow. How did that happen? Same with Tigra. Like, we're all sort of like a bit of an Emperor's New Clothes thing with Tigra, where we're like, no, that's okay. Honestly, was that what the prototype looked like? And you were like, yep, that's what we meant it to look like. Did you? Because it looks like a Cheeto. Just saying. Whereas here, the purple, it looks terrific. All of the paint on here looks terrific. The blue is just, it's a muted, matte, flat kind of blue, which works for a skin tone. And then the purple with the gloves, it's just very effective. It's very effective. And then, of course, we have his maggots, his proper accessories here. And these are great fun. Bendy. A nice soft bendy rubber so you can move them around, and this one, for example, you can have it sitting on his shoulder. It's nicely molded. That clearly they had that in mind. They're like, okay, we'll have the bend to just go around there, or you can have it in his hand so he's holding his maggot. So you're like, lob it at you. It's kind of funny. And even the little faces, like the faces are kind of creepy, kind of cool, kind of cute as well, with the 3 eyes and the little kind of little munches there. And the way that they've done the twist with this guy going around his arm, it's really well done, Hasbro. Really, really well done. I'm very impressed. I like this guy very, very much. Thumbs up. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't need to go on any further. I would highly recommend this Maggot. I guess all I got to do now is give him a grade. So guys, this figure is big, colourful, chunky, with some nice accessories and a great face. Come on, he's got to get an 8 out of 10. That is a very, very high mark, especially for Marvel Legends. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm a bit too generous, but look, what else could they have done to improve him? More power effects? There's no other powers he has besides the maggots. That makes perfect sense. I don't care too much about open or fisted hands because he's dynamic enough with what's going on. You don't need to change that up too much. Then the face, always nice to have 2 different heads, but you have a head here that can be used in multiple different circumstances. Class photo, yes, or he could be in battle, but he's smiling. Well, that's okay. He's having a good time doing what he does, fighting for mutant rights and eating things with his maggots. I'm cool with that. Some sunglasses would have been nice. My buddy Dylan posted some pictures with all these different sunglasses options you could go for. I think Jubilee's glasses work very well with him. But even though it would have been nice to have the sunglasses, I'm not going to mark him down too much for them because it's not like they are a constant staple of his character. He's often shown without them, so that's absolutely fine. So guys, that is my review of Maggot. What do you think about the figure? Comment below, let me know. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, you know what you got to do. You got to join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe button. So guys, thanks very much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Coffee. Have a coffee. Have a coffee. Big